Hello again, everyone. Today we are doing this lovely nail, the Sunset Pixie Dust nail. We are using my favorite goldeny peachy pinks and limey greens with some sherbety oranges, all coming from cat eyes that seem to just have this inner glow. This is building on this nail from 2 tutorials ago so that you don't have to buy every single polish. I'm trying to build a little on stuff we've used before. So this is just a more complicated nail in the same kind of color palette. So let's get to it. We are going to start off by making our bubbles because we want those to set aside and we want that water to kind of drain off so that they become drier bubbles. That helps it adhere to the nail. And the bubble recipe I'm popping up on the screen. It's equal parts dish soap, vegetable glycerin, usually a teaspoon or 2 of each, and like a cup or 2 cups of water. The reason we add the glycerin is this gets us a more interesting, larger, different sized bubbles, and it makes the bubbles last longer, which is why we can set it aside and let them sort of drain. I basically did a very simplified version of a bubble juice recipe from all of the forums you can find online from people who do bubble contests. I like to whip air into my bubbles with this fan brush because it also gets you larger bubbles, and the fan brush also helps in the application later on. It makes it very easy to apply the bubbles to the nail. So once we have those, we're going to set those aside, and we are never going to refluff them again. We want them to drain. Okay, on to the nail. Here we go. We are starting off with 2 coats of Gaoy Silvery Moonlight, or you could use the Gaoy Liquid Silver. Any finer particled silver cat eye will do the job. So you just want 2 coats, and we are just trying to fill the space so that we have a reflective background for the nail. You should have something that looks about like this. And now we are going to go in with the Yogurt Nails In the Mood for Love collection number 1, which I believe is the far superior collection. A lovely orange Aurora glitter. This is number 9, but you could use any of the orangey glitters from this collection. And this is going to be the layer that we do our bubble matrix on. So you want a nice medium coat. Don't try to do a super thin coat because we want this polish to get sucked up into the bubbles so that we sort of have walls in our cell matrix. And look at that. Oh my goodness, we're done. Even that's just gorgeous. Silver cat eye with that glittery Aurora orange glitter. I love it. There you go. Done. Just kidding. Okay, now it is time for our bubble mixture to shine. We want to get out our fan brush. Remember, do not refluff the bubbles. And use those bristles because the bubbles stick really well to the bristles, so you will not have a tough time scooping them up. And then you can kind of smush them over the nail. Now with the Yogurt Nails glitter polishes, they're a little thicker. I sometimes like to wait just like a hot minute, not really a minute, I don't immediately stick it in the lamp to cure because I want the polish to, smush up into the bubbles. So I don't know if it really makes a difference or not, but I do it. And this is what we should have. And you will notice we've got those threads of the polish from sucking up into the bubbles. And so now we need to go in and we just want to gently file off those hairs that are sticking up off the surface. We don't want to lose any of those cell walls because we want to paint into them. And I like to pat this with alcohol because the Yogurt Nails kind of has a fairly decent inhibition layer on it. And sometimes if I have some big chunky stuff, I'll go in with little scissors first and cut those off. Use your own free will. You can do what you like. If you want to file them, file them. I like to use the finest kind of grit file I can to get this done because I don't want scratch marks on the surface of the nail. So this is my favorite file. It's a 180 on the harsh side, and I believe it's 240 or 220 on the light blue side. So I tend to try to do most of the work on the lighter side, but if it's not cutting it, then we'll go for the big guns of the 180. Yeah. Whew, okay, sorry, I'm back. I got possessed there for a moment. All right. This is what we should have. Just clean it really well with alcohol. We want to get all the dusties off of it because we are going to start using polish on it. I still have cell walls. I have not gotten rid of any of those. That's the other reason I like to use a light file, so that I don't accidentally get rid of all of the surface depth that I have. And now comes the artistic-y fun part. We are just going to start painting in our pixie dust trail using my favorite Mitzi cateye, which they have now renamed to be called the Rose Red 9D cateye polish. And it is now in a just slightly smaller black bottle instead of this older bottle that I have. For this nail, we are doing a swooping, snaking pattern going up the nail, but I still need to do it in sections so that we can get the cat eye to magnetize how we like and to get that happening all up the nail. And you don't want to completely flood your whole cell matrix with the polish. You want to keep some of that interesting surface there. We don't have to worry about it quite as much as some past nails where you want as little gel in there as possible. This one you can kind of do medium, but you still want to see that texture. And again, for each section, I am just very quickly flash curing it, just like 5 seconds, just to keep those particles from moving when I start working on the next section. Once we have our main swoop going up the nail how we like, we will go in with our secondary color, which is a nice lemony yellow from this lovely fruit cat eye set from Double Rhythm, which I love. The colors are so wonderful in this, and they do not always have it on Amazon. This is the 1246 from the set. It's the palest one. It's sort of a, they call it the kiwi color, I believe. It's sort of a burnt, lemony, golden, slightly greenish color. And it really is just sort of the perfect complement to this rose pink we have going on. Sorry, rose red, I believe they're calling it now. And with this color, I'm just filling in some larger chunks along the sides of our pink swoop. And basically everything from this point on are just accent colors that are just playing on this theme. They're either related to these burnty off yellows or the peachy sort of pinks. And so this next one is another yogurt nails color. It's from their aquarium collection, which is also lovely. This is number 54 from it. And they all are glitter polishes with really nice sort of Aurora mermaidy glitters, then with a very smooth, fine silver cat eye over it. So if you do not have this polish, where you're like, I can't buy any more polishes, you would do just fine by using just a fine particled silver cat eye gel. And really the whole point of the rest of this nail is we are just creating some slightly different textures, some slightly different visuals, so that the nail kind of has this dancing effect across all of these bubbles. We just don't want everything to look exactly the same. The polish I just picked up there was another Mitzi cat eye from their fruit collection, which is another great set. And this is just another one of their, I think there's like 2 paler green, goldeny green colors in it. So, you know, any of those. And this is just slightly more gold than the kiwi color. So again, it's just, you know, making it so not everything feels the same. So it doesn't feel like we just have 2 colors on there. The last accent color we're going to use on this is this Gaoy 2314. This is from their Polar Aurora collection, which is another great collection. So this is more of a bright peachy pink. So this is just going to be a slightly more of a pop than our original pink. And so for this color, I'm just doing like individual cells. I just want some little sprinkles in there of this guy. You can see I remembered right at the last second to not cure that right over my little pad of all of my polishes. Now I'm just going over the nail and seeing, are there parts that I don't like? Do I not like how this line swoops? Do I think I need more pink here? Or does the yellow need to come in? Do I need a few more sprinkly accents to break something up? And hopefully, because we haven't been flooding our cells full of the polish, we have some room to fix some mistakes or fix some things now that we're looking at it as a whole that we maybe don't think is working as well now. And this is what we should have. You want to see all of that texture that is still there. That is good. Now we will finally do the full cure on the nail. We are now going to gently file this so that we are re-exposing that cell matrix, similarly to how we did on the last nail. I do not want to file so much that I make the nail perfectly smooth. I still want to see some texture on there because we are going to apply the chrome, and that will make the chrome application more interesting and not create this smooth sheen that actually kind of takes away from all of the interesting stuff we did on the nail. And I like to periodically rub everything down with alcohol because it makes everything appear shiny, and then I can actually see what I've exposed of my cell matrix. And I apologize, I was getting pretty wily there with my filing. I couldn't keep myself in the shot. So once we have that all filed down, do one final cleaning to get all the dust off, and now we are just going to go in with our chrome-friendly top coat. I am fond of using this new Chrome It by Nail Thoughts. It's working out really well. You can also use Koopa. This was my go-to in the past before I found the Chrome It, which is a Kokoist product actually. We just want a thin coat of this because I want to keep the slight textures we still have left in the nail. Cure that for 30 seconds, and then we're going to apply the chrome. For the chrome, we will be using Nail Mart USA's Aurora Beam. This is a lovely lime green chrome that when used with cat eyes has a reflection of light pinks. So it enhances any pink cat eye gels and makes them more intense, which is why it works so cool with this nail. Once I have the chrome on, I really buff it out with my gloved finger because I kind of want to get rid of some of the chrome, especially in the center focal points. If there is too much chrome on the nail, it will mask all of the cool stuff we did underneath. And believe me, I know because I've ruined a couple nails doing that before, not realizing it. So you really want to selectively take some away. So I'm also going to go in with a buffing sponge and use the finest grit you have. And I'm very lightly, since we do have a little texture left, just getting rid of the chrome here and there to break it up a little so that I'm not having just a complete sheen over the nail. And I will say, this nail I almost messed up as well. I hardly have any texture left on it. Ideally, I would have a little more texture on there, and it would be easier to get rid of a little of the high points with the chrome. And you can see I even went in with a little bit of rubbing alcohol on my little cloth to get rid of a little more chrome. But I will say this nail is different than the opalescent soap bubble nail, where we were intentionally trying to get rid of all the chrome on the high points so that we got that cupping effect. We really don't want that on this nail. It makes it a little too busy. I did that on one and I didn't really like how it looked. So we are done. Once you get that chrome to where you like it, we are just doing the top coat. And the chrome will become a little more transparent once we have the top coat on. And there we have it, our Sunset Pixie Dust nail. We've got such really nice glowing golden pinks and peaches and golden yellows with some lime green. And then underneath it all, we have that orange glitter gel that's sort of in everything. And that is just giving us extra little shimmery sparkles everywhere on the nail. I love it. And I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who has been watching and enjoying these videos.